I'm Minus Circus, and I'm based in Sydney, and I play acoustic type rock music. I recorded Hide and Seek, the EP that I have out at the moment in LA with a group of musicians, and Rafa and Cheche are my producers in LA in the middle of last year. It's out now and it's on iTunes and Amazon. Basically, the plan for the next 6 months is to gig in Sydney, where I'm based, London, Dublin, and some gigs coming up in LA probably at the end of February, start of March, where I'll be using my band over there as well. I'm in the process of writing my album. I've got about 9 tracks that I'm happy with out of 12, so you never know, I might write a couple more on the bus the way to Belfast today. The tracks that I have on my EP, there's 4 tracks. There's Good Soul, Bad Soul. They're all full band productions. They're pretty big productions. Like, they're not kind of acoustic singer-songwriter. They're like full band. I had some great musicians playing on them. Like Chris Cornell's guitar player playing with me, and he's pretty savage. Great drummer, great bassist. So pretty much early next year I'd like to get my album started with a view to having it finished by the end of 2009 and out there gigging. So that's my plan, the immediate plan at the moment. Well, Minus Circus, I've been playing as Minus Circus since 2005. Originally it was a 4-band piece, but I was doing all the writing and stuff, so I kind of branched off and became solo, which I use session musicians, great session musicians in Ireland, and got a band in London now at the moment. So really looking forward to having a diverse range of musicians playing with me over the next 12 months. Early REM, or REM as they say in Australia, not REM. I love, one of my favourite albums is Murmur or Green by REM. Wilco, and probably to single out one person will probably be Paul Buchanan of the Blue Nile. He's one musician that I pretty much think he's the best vocalist going at the moment. He's a classical type voice, like a Sinatra-esque, and I was lucky enough to meet him about 18 months ago and didn't make a fool of myself, which is always a plus. So Paul Buchanan, Wilco, REM, probably U2 as well. I take inspiration from everything. One of the tracks on the EP is called Hide and Seek, and it was written pretty much with a view. I'm 28 years old now, and I kind of had a bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, but I wondered where the last 6, 7, 8 years have gone. It just seemed to go at that, and it was gone. And I wrote a track about sort of reminiscing about my past, my childhood, and I called it Hide and Seek because I'm still looking for part of my childhood. It just seems to have vanished. But so I wrote about my childhood, and I wrote about things that affect me, like things I hear in the bus, stories I hear every day. Like, you know, it's kind of stories that people can relate to, pretty much. That's what I try to write towards. I use a few studios. Salt Studios in Dublin is like my second home over here. Frank Kearns plays with me. So when I went to LA and I recorded the EP, yeah, pretty much a lot of it came together, like, you know, with the musicians, like, you know. The last song on the EP, Hold On Tightly, really came together through a jam. I had that song half written. It was like I know it's such a stereotype and cliche, but I had half finished when I went over there, and I wrote it like literally when I was on the way going to the studio, and I was like, a melody in my head, and I finished it when I was in the studio with the guys. So a lot of it, you know, I think if you play it too much, it can become dead, but if you capture it at the source, then a lot more of the passion and energy comes across. So I was lucky enough to have probably the best band that I could ever wish for when I was in LA, and they were able to nail all my creative ideas, which makes a big difference, you know. So that's pretty much, so the studio is where it's at for me, like, you know. So I'm doing 2 music videos. I'm doing one for Hold On Tightly, which is the last track on the EP, plug, and I'm working with a producer and director in Sydney at the moment, Rob, and we're trying to get the right location. We initially were going to use the Skyline in Sydney, but that fell through because they charge a license fee for recording with the Skyline over in Sydney, which is unfortunate. So we're working on finding the right location for Hold On Tightly, but when we do, we're trying to make sure it looks perfect, and because I spent so much time in getting the sound right, I think the visual has to be equal to it. And the second video I'm doing is for Revolve, which is another track on the EP. And what I'm looking for is people from all over the world to submit photos of themselves holding the artwork. There's 500 places in the video, and 350 have been taken at the moment. You can get more information on my Circus TV channel on Muzu. Or you can go to starnymusicvideo.com, where you'll get all the information and you can download the artwork. I've had submissions from various places like Singapore, Sydney, Melbourne, LA, Chicago, New York, Dublin, Clarehead, and Dundalk, Belfast, some of the biggest cities in the world. So join in. If you've got any questions, you can contact me on my Muzu page as well.